We often think of control in a relationship as something, really obvious, loud, maybe aggressive.
Something overtly toxic.
Exactly. But the piece we're getting into today, the boundary of belonging, love versus control, it argues that sometimes control wears a very convincing mask.
The mask of care. And it focuses specifically on that dynamic between adult children and their aging parents.
It's a really fascinating piece.
It is. It uses this one story about a mother and her son, and it uses a car accident almost like a stress test on their relationship. It shows all the cracks that were hiding just under the surface.
And the setup is just so visceral. You have this woman, a mother, in a pretty bad late-night car wreck.
The whole deal. Police lights, screeching metal, all of it.
She's injured, but she's conscious. And the immediate feeling for anyone hearing that news should just be overwhelming relief. Right?
Absolutely. The first human response is just, are you safe?
But in this story, the son's reaction, it completely skips over that.
It does. When he finally gets her on the phone, his first question isn't about her health at all.
It's an accusation. Why were you there?
Just like that. Not, are you hurt, but why were you there?
It's stunning. It turns what should be a medical emergency into basically a deposition.
Yes. The source really highlights how fast that conversation shifts. It goes from her physical well-being to a complete interrogation of her character.
And the questions just keep coming. Why were you out so late? Why were you alone? It completely reframes her from a victim to a suspect.
And that's a textbook example of infantilization. It's like the script has been flipped in his mind.
He's not seeing her as an adult with her own life.
No. He sees her agency, her independence, as a risk factor that he needs to manage. It's so much like a parent scolding a teenager for breaking curfew.
That's a great way to put it. He's not actually reacting to the accident, he's reacting to her autonomy. The problem for him, it seems, is her unsupervised existence.
And the irony is just, it's huge. Because the reality of what she was doing makes his reaction look even worse.
Oh, absolutely. She wasn't doing anything risky or scandalous, not even close.
She was visiting a very old, trusted friend.
Right, to pick up a passport, and the friend was going through something, was really distressed, and so she stayed a bit later than she planned just to offer some comfort.
A completely benign, even altruistic act.
But the son doesn't see that. He doesn't even ask.
No, he doesn't care about the context. He just hears, Mom was with a male friend and Mom was in a crash. And he connects two dots that have no business being connected.
He builds this narrative of irresponsibility.
I think the source implies he was already holding on to those suspicions. The accident just gave him the excuse he needed, the leverage to finally voice them.
That, for me, is the most chilling part of the analysis. The weaponization of her vulnerability. I mean, she's lying there shaken, probably in pain.
And her own son is using that moment not to comfort her, but to validate his own need for control.
The source talks about her silence on the phone, that moment when she gets it.
A profound realization. This isn't protection. This is possession. If you were actually trying to protect her, he'd be asking which hospital to drive to.
Instead, he's policing her map.
But her response, it's incredible. She completely reclaims the power in that moment.
She tells him, I am your mother, but I'm not just mother.
Wow. She's drawing such a hard boundary there, between her function and her actual identity.
It's the difference between a role and a person.
Exactly. He's treating the role of mother like it's her entire definition. And she's reminding him that she existed before him, she exists alongside him, not just for him.
And this really points to a much bigger societal thing, doesn't it? How we view our parents as they get older.
We do. We sort of freeze them in time. They become these static figures whose only job is to support the family structure.
We stop seeing them as people with their own complex private lives.
I think the article puts it perfectly. It says parents don't just age into weakness. They're often forced into it because their children simply stop seeing them as whole individuals.
We reduce them to caregiver, and then we panic when they step outside that little box.
And we try to soothe our own panic by tightening the reins. We call it concern or just looking out for them.
When really it's about managing our own fears about their independence or their mortality.
That's the crux of it. The son's anger comes from the fact that she was operating outside the mom box he built for her. The accident was just the excuse he needed to try and shove her back inside.
Which forces you to ask where that line is. I mean, real love has to respect a person's autonomy, even when it feels risky to you.
Right. Control tries to eliminate the risk by eliminating the autonomy.
So that's the final question the source leaves us with, and it's one that's worth sitting with for a bit.
For all of us. In your own relationships with parents, partners, anyone, at what point does your care stop being about them and start being about calming your own anxiety?
A tough question, but a really important one. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.